Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And today, obviously, of course, yesterday I did the best Premier League 11 outside of the top six, and today I'll be going into my Premier League most underrated 11. Now, every player bar one actually plays outside the top six, so this is pretty much like my backup team to what I said yesterday. But really, like I think, yeah, looking at it, I think this is probably quite fair. No players actually who I put in yesterday are actually in this. I tried to avoid doing that, so I put the same player in twice in 2 days. And yeah, so my Premier League most underrated 11. In goal, I've got Martin Dubravka from Newcastle. Yeah, very, very good goalkeeper. I think since he signed for Newcastle, he's really improved them. And he's for me, he's obviously made the most saves in the Premier League this season as well, Dubravka. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. And goalkeeper's a really tough one to choose, in my opinion, because there is a lot of underrated goalkeepers in the Premier League, and most of them are outside the top six. But in the end, I worked with Dubravka. It kind of came down to a toss-up between Dubravka and Fabianski, but I think overall, Dubravka's a little bit more underrated than Fabianski. Now, right back is Baldock from Sheffield United. Of course, Sheffield United have had a brilliant season, and defensively has been a big part of that. And yeah, Baldock has been a very good right back as well. Doesn't really get talked about as much as the other players, so I think that's what makes him quite underrated. So yeah, I'd definitely go with Baldock, and you've got to have a Sheffield United player in an underrated squad after the way they performed this year. Centre back first, I've gone in Connor Cody. Now, Cody I think is quite rated, but he never seems to get a look in the England squad. And I think just you ask a few Wolves fans, and they'll all say they prefer Willy Bolly. Now, I'm a big Connor Cody fan. I've watched him many times, and I think he's a great leader, and I think he's a really good centre back, and I think he is underrated by even the Wolves fans and a lot of other people as well. So yeah, I'd definitely put Connor Cody as one of my centre backs as being underrated. Next centre back is Ben Mee. Now, Ben Mee's been with Burnley for a long time now, and again, he doesn't really get talked about too much, but he's always been a very solid player, Ben Mee, and I personally would definitely put him as an underrated centre back, and because he's how well he works in the system that Sean Dyche plays as well. Yeah, for me, Ben Mee's an easy choice for an underrated centre back. Left back, I've gone with Charlie Daniels. Now, I understand Charlie Daniels has been injured all season, so it's a bit of a controversial one. It was kind of between him and Aaron Creswell. Creswell, of course, has had a decent enough season. I know West Ham have been poor, but Creswell's not done too bad. But I don't think he's as good as what he was, Creswell, a few years ago. So I've always think Daniels has been quite underrated. He's never been amazing defensively, but as a left back going forward, he scored some really good goals. Of course, that one he scored against Man City a couple of years ago as well. Yeah, I like Charlie Daniels. I'd say he's the most underrated left back I can think of in the league. For holding midfielder, I've gone with Mark Noble. Now, Mark Noble's kind of a dividing on opinion player at times. A lot of people just think he's, just there to make up the numbers in the West Ham midfield. But I think Mark Noble's very good. I mean, he pretty much is Mr. West Ham. He's a leader. And I think he always puts in a good shift, gives 100%, and certainly has his good performances as well. But yeah, I'd say Mark Noble, in my opinion, is underrated by many fans overall. Yeah, I'd say Mark Noble. Next centre midfielder is Etienne Capoue. Now, of course, Watford, he is partnered by Decore, and Decore is the one who gets most applauded out of the two of them. But I think Capoue is quite underrated, of course. He signed for Tottenham before Watford and was quite underwhelming there. But I think he's been quite good at Watford, really, and doesn't really get many plaudits compared to his midfield partner, Decore. But yeah, I'd say Capoue, out of the midfields I could think of, I do believe he's quite underrated by many fans. My attacking midfield, a little bit of a controversial one, this. I'm going to go with Phil Foden. Of course, we all know Foden is a highly rated young player. That's no disputing that, and many people do tip him to go on and do big things. But I just think the fact Foden hasn't really played many games for Man City makes him quite underrated. And when I watched him in the cup final against Aston Villa, he was, in my opinion, man of the match a few weeks ago. And I do believe Foden, if he gets a run of games, could go on to be something special. So I'd say he's underrated in that sense. It was kind of a difficult choice to pick an attacking midfielder, so Foden is the only player who makes this list out of a top six side as well. But yeah, I believe Foden is underrated in a way, so I'd put him as an attacking midfielder. My right winger, I've gone for Ryan Fraser. Now, Fraser has had a hit and miss Bournemouth Premier League spell, I'd say. I mean, I think he's a good player personally, always gives 100%, works hard. Okay, Bournemouth have had a pretty poor season this season, and Fraser's not been at his best, but I do think he's quite underrated and never really gets a look at by many fans. I mean, he has recently been linked with Arsenal, but other than that, he never really gets a look at by many fans. So I'd say he's an underrated winger, and he certainly works hard as well. Left winger, I've gone for Harvey Barnes. Now, Leicester have had a brilliant season, no doubt about that. But, I mean, Harvey Barnes is the one who doesn't really get many plaudits out of the lot. I mean, obviously, they've got Vardy, Tillemans. It's understandable why he doesn't get many plaudits when he's probably overshadowed by players around him. But Barnes is good. He's underrated, in my opinion. And, yeah, I'd certainly say he is underrated by many fans. So, yeah, and my striker, now, this was a pretty difficult choice. I was thinking between Danny Ings and Ashley Barnes. In the end, I went for Danny Ings, of course. Danny Ings has pretty much carried Southampton this season to be out the relegation zone and virtually make them safe, really, before the season came to an unfortunate end. But I think Danny Ings is I've always liked Danny Ings at Burnley, at Liverpool, and even, at Southampton, how good he has become. I don't think any Southampton fan probably would have thought he'd score this many goals at the start of the season. So, yeah, I'd say Danny Ings is underrated. So, yeah, I mean, that's overall my underrated 11. It was a difficult one to choose, really, because there's quite a few underrated players outside the top 6, and there might have been one or two that I missed, and if there is, just let me know in the comments. And, yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.